Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Connections for Change. This morning, I am joined by Kym Hamer, who is a member of the UK alumni community here from Monash University. Kym is an international business coach, entrepreneur, and speaker, and we're delighted she's able to join us this morning to have a chat about some of the queries that our alumni have put to her around small business ownership and business development during this particularly challenging time through COVID-19. Thank you so much for joining me this morning, Kym. It's lovely to see you.
Thanks, Jess.
Brilliant. We'll start off with the first question that we have. As I mentioned, you've recently launched a business right in the middle of the coronavirus outbreak. Setting up a business is challenging at the best of times, but with a global pandemic, I imagine it's thrown up many additional challenges. How have you and your business partners responded and adapted during this time? Can you share ways that you have adapted and pivoted to be able to work with your clients?
Yes, I can. I guess is the first answer. So to provide a bit of background for that, the business we are launching is the Customer Experience and Service Association Middle East. And we had planned to launch that with a big conference in Dubai in March. So a few weeks before the conference was due to launch, we were faced with, the pandemic and all of the uncertainty around it. Nothing had gone into lockdown yet. There was no government advice. So we were having to really just, make the best decision we could on the information that we had. We decided to postpone that live event, but that was disappointing. I think the first thing I'd say is that stuff goes wrong, and you kind of got to accept it and be with it, and just say, okay, that's not great. But we talked it through and said, okay, so if we're going to postpone this, how can we use this time in other aspects of the business? So there's three of us, three business partners, myself and two others. And it was one of the things we sat down to do was to actually think about not just the strategy for the business, but what was a good dual, I guess, business development strategy. It wasn't just solely focused on face-to-face and live that we were focusing on, but how do we actually build something that's, I guess, pandemic proof, if that makes sense. Okay. So we've had a lot of discussions about the virtual world. This is a customer experience association that we're launching. So our big push has been to challenge ourselves and say, so how do we make a great customer experience for our clients and our members going forward in the business, whether they're face-to-face or whether they're in the virtual world?
Yeah, definitely. The whole experience at the moment is quite a key word. Whether you think about a travel experience, an education experience, they've all changed grossly over the past couple of weeks and months. So the ability to adapt and pivot and think about that is quite crucial at this time. Another question we've got from our alumni community. How have your business and business development plans been affected by this global pandemic? And what will you be doing differently when you emerge from the crisis? If you're able to share some key takeouts from that would be significant.
Sure. So I think one of the first things, both as a business coach and in launching this business in the Middle East, has been the importance of being visible. If you take nothing else away from this, I think you need to think about what your brand is, what your story is, and how you actually position that in a number of different ways. So we've had a lot of clients, particularly with my in my circle, talking about all of a sudden I can't go out and network for business. I'm not face to face with people, and what they've been thinking is, I now realise my visibility is rubbish, and the first thing I would say is invest time and effort in defining who you are and how you're going to show up, both online and offline. So I think that's really important. The second thing is mastering connecting with people no matter the circumstance.
Yep.
So I'm a big as you know, Jess, here in London, I'm a big let's chat over a coffee type. And we can't do that face to face. So I've had online coffees, catch ups with clients. I've actually run full on workshops and coaching sessions in virtual space. And there are lots of tools out there to do it. So the second thing I'd say is think about the experience you want the customer to have, and then just try stuff out. I read something great this morning from Tom Peters, and he said, mantra is, who tries the most stuff wins. That's it. Who tries the most stuff wins. It's brilliant. And that's what we're all having to do. You try some things, they don't work. You try some things, they work brilliantly. So I think keeping yourself adaptable and trying new things is important. And the third thing is, I think, take care of yourself. And that might sound a bit trite, but we are all in different circumstances. We're either spending a lot of time online, on Zoom calls. We're dealing with everybody in the house in London. We're still in lockdown, so we're in the same house together, homeschooling kids, two people maybe working. I think it's really important to assess how you actually have your own space and care for yourself in that, because it's very easy. I found when I first sort of went into lockdown, I've been surviving quite well, but I had, I think, 3 days of almost back-to-back Zoom calls, and I was just wrecked at the end. So it was a flag to say, you've got to take care of yourself. Yeah. So I think they're the three things, because you can't give what you don't have, no matter what business you're in. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting that professional presence and digital presence becoming so relevant.
Definitely.
For so many people.
Yeah.
But also balancing that with an authenticity there too, around how you're actually authentic and how you present yourself there. It's a very challenging time. Another query we've had through our alumni channels is around how this time has allowed many across the community to consider alternative careers and pursuing passion projects that they might not otherwise have had the capacity to consider. What is your advice for alumni who are considering starting a small business? Has the crisis in any way made you think differently about how you might be approaching and engaging with clients in the future?
I think that the methodologies are different, but I would always, if anybody's thinking about starting a new business or thinking about, I've always loved doing that, I wonder if I could turn it into a business, the first question you have to ask yourself, I think, is who wants to buy? What problem do you solve? And will people pay you to solve that? Because that's what business is. It's lovely to have your passion, but we've all got to eat, we've all got to pay the mortgage. Yeah. And you know, those things are important. The other thing I would say is sometimes passion projects are best to be just that. Yeah. And, you know, I love what I do. You know, I love coaching and strategy and marketing and visibility. I love all of that. It's been my whole career. So I consider myself incredibly fortunate. But, you know, if there are passions that are not likely to make money, I love to write. But you know, the business that I'm in, that's not going to pay my bills. So that's just an example from me. But I think it's start with the customer. What problem are you trying to solve and for who, and will they pay for it? And think about, yes, it'd be lovely to do your passion full time, but are you really ready to turn that into a business, or is it better kept as something lovely and enriching in your life?
Yeah, most definitely. It's a very challenging conundrum that I imagine many people are facing right now. How do they pivot themselves? And taking that really brave and bold step to do that, particularly in the small business arena as well, in a competitive global market now too, we're finding is increasingly challenging. Thank you so much for your time today, Kym. I really appreciate having the opportunity to have a chat with you here. And I know that our alumni are absolutely thrilled having had the opportunity to speak with you this morning and have some of their queries addressed around how to operate a small business and how to pivot and how to think about things a little bit differently, and particularly around professional presence during these really challenging times. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thanks for the opportunity, Jess.